What's up guys and gals, my name is Rick9G. Let's talk about the Twilight Zone. Thank you all for joining me and for supporting the channel. Today's episode is going to be focusing on To Serve Man. Now I would say that this is most likely the most iconically remembered episode of the Twilight Zone. Why? Because of that twist ending. Now if you are a big fan of the show, if you have seen it many times, then of course the ending will not be a surprise, but I will have to tell people that there will be spoilers, major spoilers. I'm gonna look at the entire story, so just so you know, that twist ending, I will ruin it for you. So go ahead and watch it. It is currently on Netflix. You can watch it. To Serve Man, it is called. And then if you come back to this video, I think it will serve you well to do it in that order instead of having it spoiled for you. So let's begin. I love this episode. It's one that I constantly like to watch. And that's because I always love the theme of aliens coming to this planet and revealing themselves, and that's what this episode is all about. It starts in reverse order though. It's kind of a circular story in the sense the beginning and the end are pretty much in the same spot. Now we begin on a kind of a craft. I guess we guessed that it's a spaceship because we slowly start to learn that this man here is the only one we really see is alone and in a room. He wants to get out. It's kind of like a prison cell and he wants to get out. Someone is talking to him through an intercom and slowly we begin to get details revealed to us. It reminds me a lot of the book Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut, one of my favorite books. Actually, I would say my favorite book ever. The voice offers the man food and tells him that he needs to eat to stay strong, but the man is frustrated. He wants out. He cares nothing about the food at this time. He asks, "What time is it?" And the voice responds, "Well, there's no time in space." And so that's pretty much the reveal that we are in space. We're not on planet Earth, which is kind of surprising in itself. And then we begin to hear a narration from the character that we see, this man who's obviously very frustrated. He's got his beard coming in. This is not Rod Serling. It is this character, and he recounts through a flashback how everything happens. I think that's one of the strengths of this. It starts out in a setting that we have no idea where it is. It is revealed to us where we are and introduces us to this character, and the story is told from his perspective. And I think that's a strength. We don't just start out in the beginning of the story, we start out from this man's mind. Now, it's really interesting to see how the point at where he starts is the exact same point that we're on the ship. It is noontime at both times, and it is the recounting of first contact when a saucer appears, comes to Earth, and this begins the panic in all humankind, thinking what is going to happen. Now, it's premature to assume that these crafts coming down, that they're going to be hostile in any way. However, there is something in us, I think, at least something in me that says, I don't know, something may go wrong here, because we see kind of a peaceful, nice, positive atmosphere throughout this revelation. Now we head to the UN and we begin to see everyone there. Of course, these people in high power and high places begin to panic, begin to think, what do we do now? And it's really interesting. It really draws at least me in. Hopefully that draws you guys in as well. And that's the fact that we see these powerful men, these people who are essentially running the world and have all this power, reduced to kind of panicked individuals who have no idea what to do. It's the whole system is kind of breaking down, and that's a very interesting thing to see visually. Then we immediately pan over to Serling, who introduces these creatures that come from another planet. He describes them as 9 feet tall, 350 pounds, and calls them Canaanites. Rod Serling describes them as the Christopher Columbus to this planet. Now, of course, this was written by Rod Serling. He's such a great writer. The pacing, just the tension that builds throughout this entire episode, and then finally the resolution is just amazing, which shows how genius of a man he was. Now, the greeting from this alien being is of course one of friendship, of peace. That's what we hear. There's mental communication, there's no verbal communication from this being. And of course they're asking all these normal questions. Why are you coming here? Well, because we see the catastrophes in your planet. We're here to help you, the alien says. And everyone replies, well, how are you going to help us? And he says, well, we're not going to force our help, but we want you to choose whether you want our help or not. What are your motives? Well, just trust us. Of course, it's one of those things where, wow, your guard is completely let down. You see nothing but gentleness from these creatures, from these alien beings. They're trying to bring all this technology and peace to the planet, and in fact, they do. They do bring peace. They do bring an end to war. They do bring an end to famine, and we see that change in the world fairly quickly. But then we go to a different area in the world, and that is to the character that we met on the spacecraft. He is a decoding specialist for the US government. That is the narrator himself. And they're trying to figure out, what is this book? What is this book that was left? What does it mean? They try and decode it because it's an alien language. And finally, throughout the episode, they find out it translates to serve man. To serve man. And again, interesting title. It kind of reassures them a little more, saying, well, they say they come here to help us. I guess they're here to serve us, like they're gentle giants. They're here because they are selfless, and it's a great thing. Now they give these creatures lie detector tests. They put them on TV. They put them through many experiments, and they pass. Yes, they are here for good means, but they want to know the motives. And of course, they respond with, we're here to bring you peace. In fact, they even begin flights to this Canaanite planet, and people are happy to go to the planet. They hear that it's a paradise. The temperature and the weather is amazing. They apparently have the Canaanites embassies in every single country in the world, and there are people starting to go to the Canaanite planet, and it seems like it's just an amazing encounter. There's so much ease in which the humans are willing to make adjustments because of all the things they were given. Now, keep in mind here, all the positive things that the humans got. It's almost like, well, what are the Canaanites getting out of it? Well, the narrator himself decides to fly to the planet. However, in the last minute, right as he's about to board, one of his co-workers comes screaming to him, don't get on the spacecraft. We've decoded the entire book to serve man. It's actually a cookbook. And that is the twist ending, guys, and has the fact that this is a cookbook. Now we go to the title of the book, To Serve Man. Now we're thinking they're here to serve us. In fact, that's to serve them for dinner, quote unquote. And I think when we hear that now, we have so many stories that are kind of similar to this, but this is the first one that kind of shock us in this way, and it's kind of terrifying because instantly the music changes and we see a Canaanite kind of doing this weird odd gesture with his hands, and you begin to think it's a more ominous tone. You begin to go through the entire episode and think these beings tricked the entire planet Earth into getting all these things for peace. And yes, they gave them these things. All they wanted in return was food. They were trying to get these humans to breed and basically become their food. Now, that's the terrifying part, that now we go back to the craft, to the beginning of the episode, where we see the man continually being frustrated. He actually gets the food that we see in the beginning of the episode and he just tosses it away. And then another alien creature comes in and says, hey, you gotta eat, you gotta be nice and strong. We don't want you to get thin, of course, because he's gonna get eaten. And I mean, there is this creepiness to this episode because, you know, there's kind of no way out for them. This is what they're going to. And the narrator is, of course, kind of regretting that they didn't do anything about this. And in this final moment, the narrator breaks the fourth wall. He looks directly to us, and he's wondering if we're on Earth or on the ship. And he says, well, he's kind of asking us the question, what's going to happen to you? It's no hope for me, but what's going to happen to you? And he says, well, no matter what you guys think, you will be on the ship. It's almost like we are ants and these beings are humans. There's no way out. We are trapped. And again, it gives us this eerie, spooky feeling. But the man goes and hungrily eats his food off of the floor. It's a very, just, I don't know, primeval episode that focuses to the grittiness of humanity. Now, what is the message here? We can say many, many different things. Is there even a message here? Is this just simply to freak us out? I think one good hypothesis is, well, there's no message here. This is just something to freak us out. Maybe this will happen to us. Or maybe number two, this is just a story meant to entertain us. But maybe there is a message here talking about how we should be getting along with one another. And if we don't, well, of course, it's going to lead to destruction. It's going to lead to the end of mankind. Canaanites, of course, representing other races, other ethnicities, and so forth. how can we get along together and be mutually beneficial? Because if we don't, we're going to quote unquote eat each other, meaning destroying each other. I don't know, these are my thoughts. I would love to know your thoughts down below. What is so impactful to you about this episode? Because I know a lot of people love it. A lot of people mentioned it in my last couple videos, something that you wanted to see. So if you are a Twilight Zone fan, check out my playlist. And don't forget to leave a thumbs up and to subscribe if you do enjoy this. We'll see you next time, and don't forget, be hopeful.